see if we can't get this started. Oops. There we go. Now it says we're live. Let's see how it sounds. Oops. There we go. Now it says we're lovely. All right, guys. What's on the docket? We're going to just be hitting a whole bunch of 5-footers, see how many we can make in a row. We can make apparently 0 to start. Just barely snuck it in on the right side. All right, that's 3 in a row. Nice. Keep this party going. All right, there we go. So as you can see, guys, the PR on the stream, 208 in a row from 5 feet. That was a special type of run. Not sure we'll come close to that tonight. That one barely just snuck in there too. Come close to that tonight. But we do have our extremely official score tracker ready to go. Assuming we can do something worthy of keeping track of that. All right, that's good 10 to get started. Things we love to see. Yeah, 208 in a row, guys. That's going to be tough to beat. So we've made the first 10. Can't make 100 if you don't make 10. If you don't make 1. Nice. Feeling pretty good for the tournament round I have tomorrow. Would have liked to have been able to get some swings in, but with this minor little injury that we're dealing with, I decided better to save the swings for tomorrow when they count and just do some putting today. So we did some combine work earlier. Which was pretty fun. Got through 2 full 18-hole putting rounds. Oh, just barely snuck that one in on the left side. Uno Cerveza says, I just double tapped the screen. Thanks very much. Hit that like button for us, guys. Love that. All right, that's 20 in a row. Things you love to see. Let's just go on a crazy streak, guys. right, still sneaking them in. Does appear that the 4 is continuing to break ever so slightly to the left. You know, we've got kind of like a right edge, inside right kind of putt from here. Just got to keep rolling them in, right? Nice. Almost feeling like I'm hitting them with my left shoulder a little bit. Right, just trying to keep everything nice and square, stable. Nice. This is for 30 in a row, guys. Let's get some likes on the stream for 30 in a row. Boom. Just like that. Get to update our extremely official scoreboard tracker here. Already up to 30 in a row, guys. Tell you what, we could definitely do some no-look putts. We were doing some of those the other night. Just how much eye contact can you bear while continuing to try to make 5-footers? Okay. Love it. Still on a lovely streak. Ashton says, how you doing? Just finished 18. Oh, that's awesome. How'd you play, Ashton? I am doing great. I'm just doing some last-minute putting before my tournament round tomorrow. You know, really just trying to see the ball go in the hole a whole bunch. But it's a good day. Got to practice outside some. So this is actually our second live stream of the day. Hope you played well, Ashton. It was quite warm. I think the heat index was in the high 90s today. +7 on the par 3 course. Started good, but started to fall apart as per usual on 14. I know how it goes, my dude. I know how it goes. Okay. Guys, you know what time it is. It's update the extremely official scoreboard time. That's 40 in a row now. Drop some likes for 40 in a row. Par 3 courses are a really good way to practice, work on your skills, work on scoring. Right? That's, you know, that's how scoring works, right? How many shots can you get down in from, you know, 50 to 150 yards? That's most of it. That's why Scotty's #1 in the world by a mile right now. Even though his putting is like kind of just average, his ball striking is so unbelievably good. All right, guys, this lab putter, we might be onto something. We might be onto something here. The good news is I know I've put in enough work. I've really committed myself that no matter what I use, whatever implement is in my hand, I have improved my skills so substantially that I can putt well on any given day with any putter. Right? Really trying to have that self-belief that, every putt you step up to, you have a chance to make. Love it. All right, guys, this is for 50 in a row. Ashton, yeah, I'm really working on my wedges and short game right now. It's a local course, so nice to get out. Pretty hot one today. Yeah, same here. I did about 90 minutes on the putting green, and it was spicy out there. It was definitely spicy. All right, guys, 50 in a row, halfway to 100. That's a quality streak. We're gonna make sure we're staying hydrated here. Look at this crispy. Look at this, guys. That's what you hope to see in a cool glass of water. That's high quality refreshment right there. Truly as good as it gets. All right, guys, 50 in a row. Let's keep it going. Let's just keep making putts. And you know how it works, guys. You got to stick around until we miss. So, drop your questions in the chat. Stay and hang out for a bit. Okay. Just snuck that one in the left side. Nice. That was well struck. KB said, what are your thoughts on the newest Kirkland ball? Good question, KB. I have not had a chance to hit it yet. So I can't, in good conscience, tell you that I have an educated opinion. However, I have always heard good things about the Kirkland golf balls. And certainly for the price point, if it's anything close to a premium golf ball, then it's hard to go wrong. All right, 60 in a row. Let's just keep this train rolling, huh, guys? Drop some likes in the stream for 60 straight makes. Someday we'll have like an actual cool scoreboard tracker or like an overlay on the video or something, but today's not that day. Today we have the extremely official whiteboard scoreboard tracker. All right. 60 makes. Love to see it. Just gotta keep making one good stroke at a time. Right? You can't make 100 in a row at once. You can only make one at a time. While I'm doing this, guys, I'm kind of visualizing some of the shots that I'm going to have to hit. in tomorrow's round. Also, I saw somebody else doing some, content creator Q&A type questions, and I thought that might be cool if any of our regular listeners are interested in, behind the scenes type stuff or what the process looks like. All right, guys, this is for 69 in a row. Nice. We're going to have to just briefly, we got to make sure that the people get what they want. It's a good streak. It's a good streak. Beyond, let's see if we can make one more. Love that. All right. 70 in a row now, guys. We've reached, potential like passing grade level. If we're on our way to 100, C minus. We'll try to get to B minus next. Just got to hit one good putt at a time. You guys know the rules. You got to stick around until we miss. Also, guys, the subscribe button is on sale. It's fully free now, so just hit that subscribe button. Free 99, they tell me. It's this going sale. All right. Just got to keep filling it up. That's 75 in a row now. 3/4 of the way to 100. Nice. Really in a good rhythm now. This is 79. Just rolling them right down Main Street now. Boom. That's 80 in a row now. If you stuck around from putt number 1 to putt number 80, that's got to be worth a subscription. There we go. I tell you guys, you're not going to find a more official tracker than this one right here. It's as good as it gets. Love that. One of the best compliments I've ever heard. Somebody recently was like, he's actually not making all these putts. It's just an AI loop. And I was like, man, if I could be so consistent as to have somebody think that this could be AI. CompSci, is that a lab putter? Thoughts on their sellout today for future of brand? Great question. So number one, yes, this is a Lab DF3. I've heard it called a spaceship, soup ladle, branding iron, all kinds of things. But I'll tell you what, it puts a nice roll on a golf ball. And I will say I'm not particularly educated. I saw like 1 or 2 posts about them selling the majority of their stake to a private equity company. Historically speaking, it doesn't mean that great things are coming for the brand. I mean, I hope that they continue doing what they're doing, and it sounds like Sam, the head guy, will still be involved to some extent. If that's true, that's usually a good sign. I don't know. It's always a tough thing to judge. But I'm a believer in the technology, right? It is something different. I think there's a reason why so many guys who, are trying to do this for a living are putting lab putters in the bag, even if they're not getting paid for it. There's a chance, I don't know for sure, right? But there's a chance we could look back and say, like, wow, remember when we weren't using zero torque putters? Like, that would be like using persimmon drivers still in the year 2025. Yeah, I don't know, right? But something eventually will change in putting or, make that kind of revolutionary step in equipment for golf. Creative, is the lab putter worth it? I can't tell you if it's worth it or not. I think, you know, uh, for me, I'm really happy with the results that I've seen so far from it, but it's still early. I've only had it for a few days. All right, guys, that's 90 in a row. Very cool. Going on a nice run. Where can you buy those Den caddies? Those are sick. So this is a staff bag that I've had for probably 15 years. It's an R9 Tour Preferred staff bag, and I've kept all kinds of extra stuff in there over the years. Moved it around a whole bunch. And then this is just a Den caddy from TaylorMade's website. This is pretty generic, not nearly as cool in my opinion as the staff bag over there, but yeah, I think you can find the Den caddies just on like TaylorMade, their website. If there's another brand that speaks to you more, I'm sure you could find them. I like, this one has all kinds of extra golf balls in it, like a shag bag basically, and then I use the pockets for, golf related stuff that needs to have a home. Rocket League said hi. Hey, Rocket League, what's up? All right, guys, 90 putts in a row we've made. Let's keep it going. What do you say we make 100? If we make 100, you guys got to subscribe. That's a deal. 91. 92. 93. 94. 95. 96. 97. 98. Here we go, guys. Gaining on it. 99 in a row. This is for 100. All right, there we go, guys. 100 in a row. Unbelievable streak to get our night started. Although, if we're being honest, this is, well, hard to say if it's streak number 1 or streak number 2 because we did miss the very first putt of the evening. But then since we've made 100 straight, drop a like for 100 putts in a row. Let's see if we can't make another 100. As you can see there, guys, on our extremely official scoreboard tracker, the personal best on the channel is 208 5-footers here. Rocket League, is Scotty Cameron better or Lab? I think personal preference. Owen said, I picked up an RS11 off Marketplace. Crazy find. That's awesome. Really cool finding those, those local finds. Mr. Awesome said hi. Hey, Mr. Awesome. Shout out to you. Thanks for dropping a comment. Let's try to make some more putts, huh? Boom. All right. Still rolling them right in the middle. Great confidence boost this heading into a tournament round tomorrow. Just see the target, roll it in. Don't overthink it. Nice. This could be an epic streak, guys. Now's the time to jump on the bandwagon. Let's go. How about 110? Nice. Philly Willie says, hello, what would you recommend for beginner putter? Is there any new tech in the high dollar ones you can't live without? No, there's definitely no tech that you can't live without, right? You can certainly learn how to hit a putt the correct speed and the correct line with any old putter, right? You know, this is a 2003 Scotty Cameron Newport Beach that I keep on the bench, and you know, we'll bring out sometimes. You guys will actually see me use it in an upcoming video. Certainly no technology in this one, really. Not that you would suggest is going to make it more forgiving or anything. Really cool sound slot there on the bottom, though. I'm a big fan of this putter, guys. And you can grab something like this. I mean, not a Scotty Cameron necessarily, but you know, a pretty standard, you know, plumber's neck, basic blade type putter, and get out on a putting green. Start building your skills, learning how to start the ball in your intended line. All right, guys, we are up to 110. Pretty cool, 110. And if we do have any new subscribers, just say hi and we can update our subscriber count in real time. Scoundrel says, tourney tomorrow, good luck. Thanks very much, I appreciate that. All right, this is for triple ones, 111 in a row. Love it. Let's keep it rolling. How about 112? $115 in a row, guys. I mean, this is about the best confidence boost you could ask for. Now, certainly on a controlled environment in here, you know, there's no slope, there's no wind. Well, there's a little bit of slope, right? You can see it breaks just fractionally right to left. But just as a reminder that the work I've done rebuilding my putting stroke, really putting in a ton of time to get that where it needed to be. And this is the kind of performance that really helps me feel confident that that work has paid off. Right? Boom, 125 footers in a row. You know, a year ago, I'm not sure I could have made 12, let alone 120. Don't look now, guys. We are sneaking up on that 208 number. Comp size says, good luck tomorrow. Just broke 100 after starting golf a year ago. Any tips for the next jump to break 90 for the 40-plus crowd with limited time to practice? Yeah, great question, Comp size. Also, congrats on breaking 100. That's very exciting. Keep up the hard work. You know, just a year in, that's great. The thing that will start to separate you as you continue improving, right, is strategically, you know, do you know how to get around the golf course, right? You know, can you still put a score together on days where your swing isn't at its best, or you know, you aren't making a bunch of putts, right? And the things that will help you do that the most, right? This is just based on data and strokes gained analysis, right? Nothing. This isn't just John's opinion. Oh, hello, superstar. Hi. Did you come to say hello? You did. Hi. I know. I'm probably quite sweaty. Thank you. Oh, that's good kissing. That's good kissing. Look at your tail wagging. Look at that tail wagging. Yeah. Oh, that's my girl. That's my girl. Thank you. Thank you. What are you doing? You were just sleeping. You were just sleeping. Thank you. Yeah. So scoring wise, like I was saying for comp sci, double bogey avoidance and 3-putt avoidance, right? Those kind of go hand in hand. But basically, we know that the fewer doubles and triples, above, basically, you want to try to learn how to just make good bogeys, right? If you hit your tee shot in the trees, just chip it out, try and hit it on the green and 2-putt for a bogey and be on your way. Those hero shots, the ones that you really think you can pull out once in a while, to bend it around a tree or hit it through a gap, on a long enough horizon, it's a bad strategic decision. So understanding what needs to happen so that I can continue to improve my scores. Well, if that means I need to make fewer double bogeys, how do I do that? That means keep your ball in play off the tee, right? No penalty strokes. So again, learning how to aim your ball away from hazards, or managing your mishits, taking enough club, right? Say you have 150 yards over water, and you hit a perfect 7-iron, you'll clear the water and land it on the green, right? But you might need to take a 6 because your worst 7-iron isn't going to cover that water, right? Your best 6-iron might be 30 feet away on the green, right? But you're trying to, again, we're aiming a cone, a shotgun, right? Not a rifle. So that's kind of the strategic point I would make to you, comp sci. And then beyond that, the skill that I would suggest to you to continue improving and building is, especially with your iron play, but it's true throughout the bag. How consistently can you deliver a quality strike on the golf ball, right? And that means, a strike that's in the center of the face, both vertically and horizontally, and, at an appropriate descending angle into the ball, right? We need to hit the ball first and then the turf. So to do that, what I would suggest is you can grab, I have a long club in my hand because it's what I have access to at the moment, but grab like a 9-iron, maybe an 8-iron, some sort of short iron, right? And next time you're on the driving range, you just want to try to practice hitting it 40, 50 yards in the air, right? So that would be a pretty abbreviated, maybe waist to waist type swing, right? But make sure that your setup and your fundamentals are good. These are things you can practice without having a bunch of time to practice, right? If you're saying, 40 plus crowd, limited time to practice, there are things you can do away from the golf course to get better. And, just working on some of these rehearsals, trying to get back to that quality impact position, right? Where our hips are open to the target, the shaft is leaning towards the target, right? And our head is kind of in line with the ball, and when you do have time to practice, really work on that impact position. Just hit those chippy, 8-irons, 9-irons. Really work on striking the ball solidly, hitting the ball first and then the turf, hitting a shot that flies pretty straight towards your target. But when you're working on technique, you need to slow it down, make the swing smaller. Hi, I know that's a lot of kissing. That's a lot of kissing. Yeah, I know. Oh, you're a superstar. Are you a superstar? Everybody says, "Where's the doggos?" They say, "Where's the doggos?" Oh, there they are. All right. Hi. I know we got to get back to our putting streak. We made 120 in a row here, guys. Comp Sci says, "Appreciate it, bro. Subscribe and wish you the best." Thanks very much. That's awesome. Welcome to this side of the subscriber world. If you guys are enjoying hanging out like Comp Sci and you want to hit that subscribe button. Oh, wow, guys, that was close. Putt number 121. Tried to sneak out. No! Oh, I just hit it too hard. Oh, look at that. Just a terrible lip out. Did a 360, came all the way back, rolled at my feet. Oh, that was really tough. Wow. I mean, I just went back and watched it again. I don't know why I did that. Simon said hi. Hey, Simon, how's your short game? Good. Recently, it's been pretty good. Darn. You know what? We got to update the Extremely Official Tracker, guys. We made it to 121 makes in a row tonight from 5 feet. Is that for me? How's your short game, Simon? Hope it's better than mine. All right, so that is cleaned up there. You know what we say. Just got to start again from 1. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. All right, we can make a new streak. Simon says, mine's terrible as always, but it's better than my long game. I don't have one. Are you naturally right-handed or left-handed? I am naturally right-handed. I do pretty much everything right-handed. I did learn how to write with my left hand during a period of time during which I could not use my right arm or hand. And I had to figure out how to still, get by, make notes, that kind of thing. Learned how to use the left hand at a much higher degree. Putt King, love the dedication. Thanks very much, Putt King. If you're just joining us, Putt King, we made 121 in a row before starting this new streak here. Nice. This is for 19 in a row. Oh, using all the cup there on the left side. 20, if we make this one. Nice. Oh, we didn't even put the 10 on there. We were just so confident we'd go right to 20. Hello, John, you beautiful man. Thanks very much, Ropey. Up to 20 on this current streak. We're going to keep it rolling with our lab putter. I'm going to have to do some more reading about the lab sale, which company it was that What did the investment? Nice. Let's keep it rolling. This is for 25. Okay. 26. Do I hear 27? Ooh, snuck her in there. Had to use the whole left side. Devin, have you seen Happy Gilmore 2? I have seen it. I watched it with my wife recently. We both enjoyed it. What's your handicap? Usually around 0, but I think it's gone up to about 2 recently, which is good. I feel like a dangerous 2. I feel really good playing off that number. All right, so this guy's got to go. Hey, Pod. What's up, Pods? William. Hey, John, love your vids. Thanks very much. How many rounds on average do you play every week to be this consistent? Well, the honest answer is that recently I've only been playing golf maybe once a week. But having the net in the yard and, continuing to do live streams and hit balls, and we've been doing a bunch of speed training recently. So I think that kind of consistent practice and swinging, hitting balls every day has really led to some consistency. And, again, having the goal of trying to live stream and hang out, create this space on close to a daily basis, leads me to just practicing more, right? I'm standing here hanging out, chatting with you guys, and I'm also practicing, working on my game. So it's kind of a nice, these things complement each other. And whoo, there we go. 30 in a row. Getting back on the horse. Always tough when you're on a long streak mentally to just kind of get back into it. Pods, just got my new putter and it's amazing. That's awesome. Just got my new putter and it's amazing. That's so exciting, Pods. Simon, I didn't realize how good you are. It looks like you're basically a pro with a handicap that low. Have you played in any PGA events? I don't mean to laugh, Simon. But to be a pro, you probably need to be like a +5 to +6 type handicap. The best handicap I've ever had is like +1.5. So even then, I was still 4 to 5 shots away from being competitive. So that is to say, not ever that close. One of the things about getting okay at golf is you realize like there's levels to it, right? I've played with guys who are like, I'm like, that's the best ball striking I've ever seen in my life. And that guy's like, yeah, dude, I couldn't even make it on the mini tours. So there are levels to this, right? Beyond maybe the 1%, there's the top 0.5%, and then there's 0.1%, 0.001%, right? So it's just a pyramid, right? These things get smaller at the top. But I do appreciate your belief in my abilities, Simon. But the reality is that I would something would need to drastically change in my current golf ability for me to be able to competitively try to play golf. But the nice part, I was talking about this on the stream earlier, one of the coolest parts about this era, whatever it is that we're living through, I don't have to be a PGA Tour level golfer. I can still have value to add and make interesting content and potentially pay some of my bills by playing golf in this format at some point down the road, right? We're not there yet, but we did monetize the channel, which is pretty cool. Thanks to all your support, guys. So I feel pretty fortunate that there is this opportunity to access platforms like YouTube and to show people like yeah, I'm pretty good, but I'm still trying to get better. There are things you can do to continue getting better, and this is kind of what it looks like, and it also allows me to talk about the other stuff that's important to me, right? Mental health and sobriety, things that you guys have seen videos about or heard me talk about on the channel before. So it's a really cool opportunity, and I think that's why it's been so compelling for me to continue leaning into it, keep trying to grow and get better, do more of this stuff, engage with you guys, try to, you know, ask you guys what kind of stuff you want to see on the channel. Pods, have you ever played in a pro-am type of event? No, I never have. I've gone to a couple of PJ Tour events and watched in person, but nothing like that. Those pro-am days are pretty expensive. I think one spot's usually between, like $20 to $30,000 just for the day, which is why they're usually, like CEOs of big companies. All right, so that was 35 in a row. Let's see if we can run off a bunch in quick succession here. That's 36. $37. 38. 39. 40. All right, so let's get our extremely official tracker here. William says, your live streams are a really great way for us to learn, and for you too, of course. Putting into words the things you're doing has got to be great for getting better. Well, I appreciate that, William. Excuse my ignorance when you say +5, is that better or worse than scratch or even? Oh, better. Yeah, so like +1 would be better than a 1. 0 is better than 1, but +1 is better than 0. So once you get to better than scratch or better than 0, you get the plus, right? So +5, +6, those are, about the lowest handicaps you'll hear about. Because pros don't have handicaps, right? They're just all pros play as pros. But I've heard some crazy stats, like when Jon Rahm was playing some crazy good golf for a stretch, they had his handicap at like a +11, something like that. So yeah, there's definitely levels to it. William says, I should invest in a net 2, to be honest. Do you recommend one in particular? Great question, William. So I have been using with a lot of success the Net Return Pro. I've already had to pack it up a couple times and move it. It's very sturdy. It does basically everything I could have hoped for in a net. Plus, because of the success of the channel, and thanks to you guys, we are in the affiliate program there. So if you are interested, William, I can get 10% off with the code. I don't think we put it in here. I've only been putting it in the description for the ones, when we're hitting outside. But if it's interesting to you, let me know. And, or maybe one of the older live streams is in the description. You could find it there. I think it's John21744 or something like that. But we can get it for you. If that's something you're interested in doing. The Scotty you showed before is so clean. I play Super Select Newport Plus and really love it. Yeah, this is one of my favorites. I've had this for quite a long time. I don't think I'll ever let go of it. No line or sight dot or anything, just super clean to look down on. Perfect Newport 1 shape. I've got the classic Pingman grip on it. The old stepped steel shaft. Just everything about it is super pure. The reason I don't use it more is I'm just not I'm not good enough to hit the center of the face with a putter like this. I did putt really well with it in the match I played last weekend. So maybe it could come back out, but Pod says, like Bryson and Rory are +7, +8. Yes, exactly. Pods, no, East Coast, Northeast. Can you explain what a putter counterweight is versus a regular putter? Yeah, so Philly, counterweight is sometimes there are putters that they'll put a heavy weight in the grip, in the top end of the putter. And what that does is change the feel of during the stroke, how the putter feels, right? Because you have this heavy weight, the putter head, right? And a heavy weight on this end. So your hands are kind of in between those heavy weights. And the feeling or the goal is to kind of offset some of that. So it's just a particular style. You know, there are different grips you can put on your putter that are counterweighted. Something to check out for sure. Dan says, "Love my DF3. I milled out the face and put in a stainless insert. Feels amazing now." Wow, that's pretty cool. I wouldn't know the first place to start about milling out the face of a putter, but if that's a skill set you have, Dan, that's pretty cool to be able to leverage it in a golf arena. All right, 41 now. How about 42? Jackie Robinson, 42. Here we go, 43. Love it. 44. 45 in a row. William, nice. Thanks. I'll look into it, man. You're the best. Oh, thanks very much, William. I appreciate that. Philly Willie got it. Thank you. Bassmaster said hi. Hey, Bassmaster. Hopefully, the bass are treating you nicely. I've never been a big fisher. I've only caught a handful of fish ever in my life. Just never, any day that was good enough for fishing seemed like good enough day for golf. All right, guys, this is for 49 in a row. Not our best stroke, but we got it to go. This is for 50. Nice, right down Broadway for 50 in a row. John, do you regrip your clubs or pay for it? I'm thinking about getting a kit/grip. So good question, Pods. We did a live stream, probably 3-4 weeks ago, where I regripped all my clubs. And I walked through the whole process of, cutting them off, getting all the old tape off, doing new tape, and then I don't have any in here, but I ended up doing a couple extra wraps on the bottom hand, so my grips all have, not a lot of taper in them. Right? Said another way, the grip is about the same thickness for both the top and bottom hands. So I did those myself. That live stream I think is still up on the channel. It's definitely a skill worth developing if you like changing your grips or you expect that you're going to do it on a somewhat regular basis. It's really not that difficult of a process to learn and master. Plus, you'll save a bunch of money in the long run instead of paying, I don't know, like $4 or $5 per club every time you want to have some kid at Golf Galaxy do it for you. Never a doubt. I agree with that, William. Scott says, I made a 20-foot putt yesterday. That's awesome. Whoa. Cod says, you think you're afraid of dying, but what's worse is this. What if you already did and this is just the moment after, looping forever? Well, it could be. I mean, there's worse places I could be than hitting this putt. Do you use left hand low on long putts? Yeah, I do. I've been using left hand low on everything. And the reason that I've been using the left hand low is, for me, it really levels out my shoulders, right? When I look in here, as opposed to like when I start doing traditional, it gets pretty tilted and I end up having to make some adjustments. So with left hand low, the shoulders are staying much more stable, right? So I've been finding that I'm making better contact, right? I'm hitting the center of the putter face. Bassmaster says, how are you today? I'm doing great. I'm doing great today. It's a great day to be working on our game. Great day to be taking care of our mental health. Buck and Bass, bro, it's my birthday. I was wondering if you could shout me out, please. Absolutely. Happy birthday to you, Buck and Bass. Hope it's a good one. Thanks for hanging out on the stream for a while. And happy birthday to you. Show some love for Buck and Bass in the chat, guys. Wish him a happy birthday. There we go. We made another one. 52 in a row. Let's keep it rolling. 53. 54. 55 in a row. Getting close to retirement age, this streak is. Love that. Yeah, I've putted left-hand low pretty consistently throughout my golfing career. I've bounced back and forth between left-hand low and traditional, reverse overlap. Of course, with some, minor experimentation here and there. I've tried the claw for very brief stretches. Love it. This is for 60 in a row, guys. Nice. Nice. What a joy it is to update the extremely official scoring tracker. Hit that subscribe button for 60 makes in a row, guys. Dottie said, "Hey, what's poppin', man? Hey, how are you? Did you watch the new Happy Gilmore?" I sure did. My wife and I watched it together this weekend. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a nice mix of, new stuff. I really enjoyed seeing all the PGA players in it. And, they paid homage in a nice way a bunch of times to the original movie. I thought it was nicely done. It was never going to be the first one. And they did a good job of, being true to what it is. I like that they are, kind of normalizing or talking about drinking or alcoholism as a thing that is, prevalent in our world. It's something that I've, struggled with for a long time, obviously. And now being more than 4 years sober is, it's encouraging to see, references to it in something like a Happy Gilmore. 61 in a row. Any recommendations on training aids for beginners? Yeah, so the Well Stroke mat and the Pels Tutor that I usually have set up in here. You can check out any of the 30-day putting challenge. You can hear me talk about those training aids. Those are really good for improving your putting. The combination, of the functional, starting your ball on the intended line, plus the Well Stroke mat to really groove the stroke and the shape of your stroke. That's been really good for me. Any advice for turning the club face over? Mine's always slicing right, no matter the club. Yeah, so casuals, you just got to get the club face closed, right? No matter how you do it, you got to get the club face closed. More pointed to the left. You can do it at address, point it more to the left. On the way back in your backswing, you can kind of have that club facing more towards the ground. But if the club face is open, you got to learn how to close it, right? A functional way that I like telling people or suggesting that they try is to, aim as if you were trying to hit it right down the center of the fairway, right? But force yourself to hit it into the left rough or the left trees, right? Just whatever you got to do to get that club face closing, to get that ball going over to the left, within the confines of your own athletic ability and skill set, right? You just got to treat it as if, anything to the right of center is like lava, right? You got to get that ball going to the left and just learning how to close the club face. Nice, Doty Vision. Yeah, the originals are always the best. I just switched to claw. It's helped me a lot. That's awesome, Devin. Good to hear. Claw changed my putting game, more of a pendulum feel. Okay. Had me laughing the whole time, so I can't complain. Yeah, I agree with that. I talked about chipping earlier in your comments. Every time I turn the club to chip, I just send it right every time. Huh. So your chips are going to the right. The originals are always the best. Yeah, I think that's probably true. It's always hard to. They're classics for a reason, right? Because they're great. All right, I think that's 63 in a row, guys. We've been yammering on and on. Oh no, it happened. Oh, we just pulled it. It just was so unnecessary. Could have just hit it on the right line, and instead I didn't. All right, so that streak's going to end at 63. So 121 and then 63. Pretty good streaks. I feel really confident heading into tomorrow's golf. Just watched Bryson Adam Sandler trying to break 50. That was a cool video. I did see some of that too, guys. Thanks, Scoundrel. Really good video. Go check that one out. I started about 2 months ago, so any tips I'm thankful for. Yeah, of course. Thanks for hanging out, Doty Vision. Bassmaster, thanks for being here. Have a good night too. I'm about to get a putter fitting. What are some things I should know before getting fitted for a putter? Generally speaking, the things you would want to understand are, you know, how much toe hang the putter has, right? That's, let's here's some examples, right? If you balance it, right, this one has a moderate amount of toe hang. You see it's about a 45-degree angle there. This putter has very little toe hang, just a tiny bit, right? You can find face balance putters where this will point straight up to the sky, right? And understanding, how those different putters, uh, try to accomplish different things or kind of try to match up with the stroke that you naturally tend towards. Um, have some sense of what you prefer to look down at, right? Whether it's a blade or a mallet. And then there's something like this, right? That's zero torque. It's gonna, it's not gonna really it has no toe hang at all, right? Oh no, you had it. I watched the Adam and Bryce video too. Really good. Yeah, I'm excited to watch the full video. I haven't seen the whole one yet. Hood skaters, great stuff, man. Tips for right hand grip. I'm too under the club. Yeah, so if you're changing your grip, guys, anytime you're working on your grip, the best advice I would give you is just have a club sitting next to your couch, next to your desk, wherever it is you sit and hang out. If you're playing video games in between rounds, right? Just grab a club and start regripping it. Just really work on getting that feel. And so for you, if you're saying my grip is too, underneath it with the right hand, right under here, well, you need to get it kind of on top like this, right? Way you could, a checkpoint, right, is make that the V between your thumb and index finger here, right, on the grip. You want that pointed at your right shoulder. So if you're way underneath it, right, where's this V point? It's pointed like way kind of behind me here, right? Whereas if I get that right hand more on top, see this angle here, pointed, boom, right at the right shoulder. So that can be a good checkpoint. And then as you're, just working on regripping it, just kind of, work on adjusting it. Keep a club around, somewhere you can say, okay, it's going to feel weird. I'm used to being kind of under here and now it's way on top. But you're trying to just get reps and practice time for your hands to get on that grip in a new position, start getting accustomed to it. And then after a few days, maybe a week or two, practice with the new grip, hit some shots with it, and it should start to feel pretty comfortable. I mean, I made a drastic change in my own grip. I went from interlocking, which I'd done my entire life basically, to this overlap grip, and I did that maybe 6 months ago. And that was my strategy too. I just had clubs laying around. Well, ask my wife. There's clubs laying around most of the time anyway, much to her chagrin. And you just really got to give yourself time on the club for your hands to start to feel good there. Aiden, when you get the time to read and answer this, I greatly appreciate your time and response. I deal with back pain and stiffness from playing. Any tips aside from stretching? Great question, Aiden. This is something that I have personally dealt with quite a bit. And I know you said besides stretching, right? But doing a daily stretching regimen, I think, is the thing that really allowed me to start unlocking my back and really getting to a place where it didn't hurt every day. I mean, I had truly like debilitating chronic back pain. I could only stand up for maybe 15 minutes at a time at one point. And I did a lot of stretching, in my hip flexors and my pelvis, trying to, take some of the pressure off of my lower back, a lot of strengthening in my glutes and, like a lot of glute bridges, things like that. So don't be afraid to, really lean into the stretching stuff. And then from there, once my back was at a point where I could move around and I wasn't having pain, then I started strengthening it, right? So really, moving weights around, using those muscles in my lower back, exercises like Jefferson curls, right? So I have a kettlebell here, and you could, get some wedges, something to elevate your feet, right? Or even a bench to stand on. And then don't do this if you're in pain, right? If you have any kind of back pain, don't, exercise or lift through it. But once you get to a point where you can start. Hey, Casuals with an awesome super chat. Thank you very much. Drop a heart for Casuals super chat. I appreciate that very much. Thanks for your support of the channel. So once you have stretched and loosened it to a point where you can start to build that strength back, doing some exercises, right, where you're going to engage those muscles in your back, right, keeping your chin tucked to build some strength back has been really key for me. Um, another one you can work, something that I've worked on. This is maybe a little more further down the road, but uh, if there are things that are happening in your swing, right? Say like look at a Will Zalatoris, right? Really beautiful looking golf swing, but when you dial into it, he's early extending and side bending a ton, right? He's putting a lot of pressure on his lower back. So there are things that you can do or teach yourself in your golf swing to take pressure off of your back, right? Namely, you'd want to be rotating more, right? Allowing that back to, stay more in place as opposed to like the tilt and extend move that kind of crunches and puts a lot of pressure, especially on the right side here, right? In that tilting the lower lumbar back and then crunching it really aggressively, right? That puts a ton of strain in that area of the body. Um, so those are my thoughts there. Hopefully that helps, Aiden. Devin, what's your favorite Star Wars movie? Great question. I'm gonna go with A New Hope. It's probably my favorite one. I think everyone needs to realize they're not gonna be able to imitate anyone else's swing. It's individual. We're not top 1% of athletes. So what works for you is what you do. This is recreational golf. Guys, yeah, great point, White. Again, like it's crazy to look at like a Joaquin Neiman swing or Sam Bennett and be like, well, I could do that too, right? I mean, unless you have hours every single day to dedicate to mobility work, being in the gym, hitting balls with an instructor, right? Like our swings aren't going to look like that. So, to White's point, let's try and do some easy things to number one, make it easier on our body, but also, develop some skills that aren't mechanical, right? Like instead of, trying to get your body and your club in certain positions, like, let's practice impact. Let's practice how do we actually get better at striking the golf ball. That's always been my take. Needed this info. Thanks so much. Do you have a planned routine that you can give for an email? Also, my goal is to become a tour pro. Oh, very cool. Yeah, so send me a message on Instagram. Drop me a follow over there too, guys. If you guys are on Instagram, John Young Golf, same as here. It's much, I've done some swing evaluations, right? If you're on Instagram, you just have video of your swing. You want to send it to me for some thoughts and analysis, that's totally fine. Love to do free swing stuff on Instagram. So reach out to me on there, Aiden, or my email is also on the channel on YouTube. So you can send me an email there and we can correspond that way. And I'd be happy to share some resources, some things that I found helpful for me in my own journey with back pain and going from, being really crippled and debilitated by it to, it's not something that I think about really on a daily basis. I mean, there's definitely times like we just moved and my back was totally in bad shape for like 2 weeks, but that doesn't happen very often. And you know what? After 2 weeks, I kind of bounced back and I felt pretty good again. That's all because of the hours and hours and hours of work that I've done rehabbing and getting it to that point. So it's not to suggest that it's always going to be perfect, but I have had some success in managing it myself. And I mean, seriously, in a bad spot. I got 2 cortisone injections in my spine at one point. I was doing all kinds of physical therapy with not a lot of success. And honestly, Aiden, I mean, I know you said not stretching, but like maybe it's, you got to find the right stretches. Um, it's messed me up trying to do that. Yeah, me too, White. I think, trying to chase positions in your swing and looking at video too much can definitely be dangerous. Take care, guys. Next channel. Thanks very much, White. If you guys are enjoying it like White Blackwing and you want to drop a subscribe or a like on the video, that really does help me out. So I appreciate it. Pod says Jon Rahm swing is ridiculously cool. I agree with that. Hey, Maxon's in here, and Maxon said nice hole out today. Thanks very much, Maxon. Yeah, that was a really fun moment in that practice round. 105 yards. Pretty easy pin, to be honest, right in the center of the green, but just hit a tight little draw, landed pin high, took one skip, had a couple yards of suction on it, rolled right in the cup. John, if I'm ever in the Northeast, I'd love to play around with you. Or are you in SoCal? Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, that's brutal. That's sweet. Yeah. Yeah, go drop a thumbs up on the hole out video, guys, if you enjoyed that one. That's on the shorts. Um, Another thing, Aiden, that you can start doing, right? You don't need to use, just use, lightweight if you're just getting started, but you can make a lot of progress with your back by, adding some like rotational stuff like this, right? With a kettlebell. Um, you know, but seriously, like just stretching your hip flexors, uh, stretching your lower back, right? Um, you can make a ton of progress. Luke says, "How do I make good contact and hit it straight with my iron?" So it's going to be tough to demonstrate in this setting, but the best thing I would tell you, Luke. Hey, Andrew Ricker's back in here. Andrew's one of our longtime supporters. I appreciate your support. So, Luke, what I would tell you, right? If you're when you get on, you do have time to practice. You're out on the driving range, right? I want you to stay maybe 10% of your golf balls you're allowed to hit with a full swing, right? If your goal is you want to work on contact, hitting it straight, right? Improve your technique in the golf swing. I think it is basically a requirement that you do that work at less than full speed, right? You can practice at the end, execution where you go through your whole process and you pick a target and you're making a committed swing and you're really saying like, okay, I'm grading myself on did I hit it at my target? Did I hit the shot? Execute it the way I wanted to? But most of your technique work should be done at slow speed, right? Making little movements. So the drill I would have you do is grab like a 9-iron and try to hit it 40 yards in the air on the driving range, right? But you need to guarantee or do everything you can to consistently strike the center of that club face, right? It's going to be about a half swing, maybe waist to waist, and you're just going to focus on did I hit the ball first and then the turf? Did I hit the center of the club face? Did the ball fly pretty straight towards my target? And you'll find that at slower speed, it's much easier for your body to adjust, to really give you feedback on what you need to change, if anything, to deliver that club appropriately. My hip flexors cramp bad sometimes. Yeah, that's definitely a sign, right? If your hip flexors are cramping, that means that you're asking them to do too much, right? That was my problem too. Basically, my lower body, my hips weren't working where to the point that they needed to be. And in order to stand up, well, your body's going to say, okay, if those muscles aren't working, we got to recruit that power from somewhere else. It goes to the lower back muscles, which are not very well designed for doing that, right? So for me, really like getting mobility and flexibility back in my hips is what allowed my back to stop hurting. Because finally I was using the muscles that you're supposed to use, right? But when we sit all day, like a lot of us do, whether that's at school, at work, right? We shorten those hip flexors, they get very tight and weak. And then we're like, well, why does our back hurt? Well, you're asking your back to do something that it's really not built to do. So yeah, that's a pretty good indicator. Burley has said hi. Doty Vision says he's going to come back later on. Thanks very much for being here. I appreciate you. Levi said hey. Hey, Levi. Thanks for being here, guys. I think that's going to do it for tonight's stream, guys. 2 good putting streaks, some great questions. Great to make some new friends on the channel. Thanks for being here, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.